Hello, I'm Christy Lloyd, a Salesforce business analyst out of Seattle, Washington, and I'm excited to show you one of the business solution projects I worked on recently. Okay, this real life scenario is based off of a CRM improvement project for a telecom company. The company was facing a lot of problems in their current process. Service calls would come in, but they weren't dedicated to service agents who were specifically trained for those kinds of calls. For example, billing and support calls would come in, and then they would just be given to whichever agent was available first. This, of course, slowed down resolution time and overwhelmed agents and made staffing difficult. They had high turnover for their staff. There was no standard case assignment, and escalation wasn't happening smoothly or even really being tracked. And here you can see some of the interview notes that I took with 2 interviews with stakeholders, the technical support team lead and the national service manager. I pinpointed the main pain points so as to focus the scope of the project and made a wish list of sorts to see what kind of solutions would fit their needs. The next thing that we captured, the next important thing was to capture what kinds of KPIs or measures of success were important to the stakeholders. And here we can see that includes a lower time to resolution, automated common questions, and that could look like a knowledge center or articles accessible to both customer and agent, and a centralized way to track cases and improving both UI and UX design, increasing the satisfaction of the call staff and the customer. In gathering or eliciting requirements, I learned that good data in, as in clear and accurate needs communicated by the stakeholder or me as a business analyst asking clarifying questions, would equal good in-scope solutions. So good data in, good data out. This information would be the building blocks for the rest of the project. It was worth getting clear information and even taking the time to get it right. I learned that open-ended questions gave the stakeholder more liberty to give more information and have more space to really speak to what was currently frustrating them or was essentially important to them. And then it was easy to ask the logical follow-up questions. What's great about this project is, when I signed up to do this project, I was put into a team of 4 people, and we worked as a team to create deliverables for the stakeholder within a pretty intense time schedule. And one of the things I personally worked on was the current and future process map, current state, future state. And I'd like to highlight the future state map that we did here. I used Lucid Cloud for this. And as you can see for this B2C process, it starts with an unhappy customer who has some kind of inquiry, and that customer can show up to the system through, email or the live chat agent, or probably most likely in this case it was through a hotline. Now, ideally, we like to see some self-service knowledge articles available to the customer, which we found had a 40% case deflection rate. Those customers that were satisfied with finding articles such as like, how do I set up international calling, or how do I change my phone plan, or how do I pay my bill, those issues were resolved. And of course we would collect that feedback through a survey, through Salesforce surveys, and then be able to make data-driven decisions to improve the process further. If that customer was not resolved through the self-service knowledge articles, a case would be created and the 24-hour clock would begin. Those cases would go through a decision tree where you decide, is it a support case or is it a billing case? And then assigned to agents who had the time and the expertise. These were agents that were specifically trained on support or billing cases. And then if those cases got resolved, we headed back to surveys, and then the happy customer would be the end result. If they were not resolved, we had the option for early case escalation to either dedicated team or the support manager. And either way, after 24 hours, the case would be escalated to the support manager. If the case is resolved, we are happily collecting feedback. If not resolved, we go back and escalate it again. So we can see that these customers had a very clear path to get to resolution. At this point in the project, it's best practice to run this future state by the stakeholders, looking for agreement or ways to improve, or if you're on the right track. A business process map was an excellent way to show visually where we were going to the stakeholder. I learned Lucidchart, Elements, and UPN all as tools to communicate to the stakeholder the process that we were going for. This kind of mapping is helpful in visualizing where the gaps exist and to help plan for next steps. User stories were the next step in the business improvement process. It's imperative to see the process through the eyes of the user, and that can be a team lead, a service agent, or even from the point of view of a customer. Each iteration or small change made to the system needed to be mapped to a particular type of user and the needs that they had. In this example, this is our team lead. One of his user stories reads as follows. As a team lead, I want to know how many cases are closed within 24 hours so that I can evaluate what is working and identify areas for improvement. As a team, we created several user stories. This is one of the ones I created. It was specific enough that we could later use this as the building blocks for a test script to see if the new process would make this statement true or false, and helpful in building the solution as we went. User stories are important because without solutioning, we don't want to do a solutioning, that's the developer's job. We can pinpoint what the user needs, their exact wants are clear, and it shows us a clear path to the next steps that we need to take. At this point, I used a dev org and built several things to help the service agent work more effectively. We started building our MVP. Here you see a screenshot of a pick list that I put together. This would be for a salesperson or a support person who is upselling a customer. Upon choosing the equipment name, the type of equipment was available as a dependent pick list, and the agent could then input the tier of service, which would become important later. So pick lists are one of my favorite simple tools to help sales and service teams choose the pertinent products and keep data organized. There are fewer chances to input inaccurate information, and service agents have fewer chances to be confused or frustrated by extra fields. It's all about making it easier and simpler for our agents. Another feature in the org that I built was record types. I built new sales paths, a new page layout for each record type, and new pick list values for the stages for the record types. This is another simple tool to keep data clean and help salespeople and service agents do their job efficiently. Record types are a great simple tool, and they're also extremely flexible. Record types give greater flexibility for choices for a sales or service team to organize their pipeline, and it keeps the data clean and organized and lessens the chance to skip important steps. Record types are a great way to guide the sales process as well. This org build-out was the one that helped me pass my admin certification. Once I actually started to build the features involved in this business solution, make mistakes, fix them, figure out how I went wrong, and I saw how all the pieces work together, it made a lot more sense than just studying the material. On top of that, I discovered how much I enjoyed the business analyst side of being a Salesforce consultant. I look forward to many more projects just like this that will help me grow my skills. Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos on my YouTube channel and connect with me on LinkedIn. See you soon.